Firemanship is fast approaching. It is almost here. If you were there last year, you know how amazing it was. If you've been involved with Firemanship, you know how amazing it is. And so it is coming up in July 14th through the 18th. Man, get registered. If you're not, why not? It's in Aurora, right outside of Chicago. It's an amazing, amazing experience. Here's the deal. I am teaching 2 days of workshop, the same workshop 2 days in a row on Thursday and Friday. But right now, registration is extremely low for those two workshops. It is the Culture Forge. It is the class that me and Sam and Rob Fisher have been building, working on, putting on. It's an amazing class. If you've been a part of it, then you know all about the teams, the mascots, the spaghettis, the value building, the Lego. You know what it's about. And it's the class I always wanted to attend. And that's the class that I built. And it's an amazing time. But the problem is I'm going to have to pull the plug on it if people don't register for it. So that being said, go and register for the Culture Forge so that it can happen. If not, I get it. Life is life. Go register. I'll see you at Firemanship.
Introducing the affordable Standpipe Prop, another innovative solution by Affordable Drill Towers. The affordable Standpipe Prop is a realistic training prop that allows you to conduct real-world training in your classroom and flow water in your parking lot. Crafted with efficiency and affordability in mind, the affordable Standpipe Prop is designed to meet the needs of engine company training. We took the fire suppression system of a 7-story building, compressed it into 4.5 feet, and mounted it horizontally on our proprietary cart. For durability, the manifold is constructed of 4-inch Schedule 40 galvanized pipe with 7 2.5-inch outlets. Enjoy effortless maneuverability from 4 heavy-duty casters, 2 that are fixed and 2 that swivel with double locking brakes makes wheeling this prop a breeze. Yet, the locking casters prevent movement when flowing water. The entire unit is sandblasted. An epoxy powder coat finish is applied, followed by a red top powder finish. 2 reinforced shelves allow for transport and storage of fire hose, appliances, and tools. The basic model includes a 2.5-inch Siamese fire department connection, 6 2.5-inch angle hose valves, a system pressure gauge, and a sprinkler head with a control valve and water motor gong. The 7th outlet comes capped. The affordable Standpipe Prop is available with your choice of Fireground adjustable pressure reducing valves from Elkhart Brass, Zurn, and Giacomini. You can also add the Dixon PRD, a screw-on adjustable pressure restricting device, a 7th standard hose valve, an additional sprinkler head, or the optional speed swivel appliance that can be used on the FDC. We pressure test the affordable Standpipe Prop to 300 PSI so that you can pump realistic fireground pressures. If you need custom threads, a specific FDC, have any questions, or need a quote, just let us know. Elevate your training regimen with the affordable Standpipe Prop, setting a new standard in fire department training excellence. Reach us at 84455 Towers or info at affordabledrilltowers.com.
Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. It is weekly scrap number 302. My guest tonight is Tina Humston. She began her fire service career 26 years ago at age 18 with a volunteer fire department, where she followed in the footsteps of her mother, who was a paramedic at that department. A year later, she was hired by a career department at the age of 19, becoming only the 3rd female in the history of the department. She spent time as a firefighter, inspector, investigator, and hazmat tech before becoming the first female to promote to lieutenant. Ultimately reaching the rank of shift captain, she obtained her EFO, served on the honor guard, was a union secretary, a peer support team member, wife, mother to 3. After a 20-year career, she left her department and took a position as training captain at a nearby combination department. Along with the colleague, she started the Craft and Culture Fire Conference, which is how I came to know Tina. And that led to her becoming the Iowa affiliate for Fire Nuggets. She enjoy let me say it right. She enjoys doing fireman things with her fireman friends, teaching locally and regionally, and seeing the success of those around her. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you on the scrap for number 302, my sister from the Midwest, Tina Humston.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Corley. I'm so excited. A huge fan, obviously, and I'm so thankful for you. I obviously, as you know, I was quite surprised when you texted me. I really thought someone was messing with me. I did not believe that you were asking me to be on the scrap, but I'm honored. So thank you so much.
No, I still remember when I texted you and you accused me of being a someone pranking you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but no, there's been so many requests to have you on. So it was a no-brainer. It really was a no-brainer. And anything I missed in the intro, is there something you would like to add?
Nope. Just happy to be here.
Awesome. Audience, get your questions primed and ready for Tina. Sam is watching the chat. He will be throwing the questions at me. It's gonna be a fun scrap. So let's do the sponsors so we can get to scrapping. Affordable Drill Towers, on a mission to bring you cost-effective and versatile training props like the affordable bailout prop, which allows you to practice window bailouts, ladder bailouts, and ladder high point rescues. They also make the affordable standpipe prop, which you can roll into the classroom for standpipe theory and then roll it into the parking lot and pump realistic flows and pressures. Their mainstay, the affordable drill tower, it comes in several configurations and standard with the standpipe system. Choose from 1-2 sets of stairs integrated into your existing Connect boxes for multi-story access or freestanding on a slab. All models NFPA 1402 compliant and gain you ISO credit. The only thing that you can't do on an affordable drill tower is live fire training. Call Steve 844-55-TOWER or drop an email to info@affordabledrilltowers.com. When it comes to performance under pressure, you need equipment that won't let you down. That's where American-made Snap-Tight comes in. Built tough for firefighters, Snap-Tight hose is engineered to perform under pressure. Plus, Snap-Tight hoses are easy to deploy and even easier to rely on, with unmatched heat resistance to abrasion and extreme temperatures. The best part, they offer guaranteed shipping and 4-week lead times. Visit snaptighthose.com to learn more and find a distributor near you. Snap-Tight hose, reliable, durable, and ready when you are. FirestationFurniture.com. They provide a complete line of quality furniture for your firehouse. Firefighter owned and operated, they understand the strain firefighters put on furniture and offer furniture that's built to last. Visit www.firestationfurniture.com for more information. And of course, one of my favorites, Flame Decon with the weekly scrap soap that is coming. I'm super excited about that. So Flame Decon, man, make sure and wash your balls. I always say that. So all that being said, it's time to scrap. Tina.
I'm ready.
You started when you were 18 years old.
Yeah,
19 in career.
I don't recommend it.
Let's start there with starting young in the fire service. You joined talk to me about your journey.
So I started with a volunteer department, and they are the ones that got me through my state firefighter 1. My mom was a medic on that department. She served for 20 some years also. And I was like 5 years old, and she would get a call, and I would run and get her code and meet her at the door with her pager. And I actually ran my very first code with my mom. So I was home for college one time on the weekend, and we ran a code together. So That was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean,
that's a different legacy story than most firefighter legacy stories. I mean, it really is. It's unique.
Yeah. But yeah, and so then I went to school for fire science, and my buddies and I would just test anywhere. And sorry, phone ringing. Someone will get it. But yeah, I just tested somewhere, and I got hired. And I remember asking my dad, am I too young? And he said, well, do it for 5 years. If you don't like it, do something else. Yeah. And it's been 26 now. So kind of stuck.
Didn't find anything else.
Nope, I didn't.
Right on.
Nope.
Right on.
Nope.
Talk to me about the toughest hurdles.
Oh man. Well, back then, I mean, it's gotten better, right? But I think the fire service in general is notorious for lacking officer training and officer development, So as a firefighter, I thought, if I'm a good firefighter, then that's how you get promoted. And then I got promoted and I was like, oh my God, this is a completely different job.
Mm,
And I was not prepared. And granted, those above me, I don't know that they had it any better either. You know,
right.
you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
Um, and I was young, and there were not very many women. I was the third in history, but there was only two of us at the time. I mean, there was 10 years between her and I, and then almost another 10 till we had another female. So I didn't know. I mean, it was kind of just go along to get along, right? But looking back, it was challenging, but also I had a lot of support.
Okay.
I had a lot of people that were super supportive. Some of them were not, but whatever, that's fine. You know, not for everyone. But overall, it was good. But there was a big age difference also. Like some of the guys that I was on cruise with, like I was the same age as their children. You
Oh,
know,
wow. Yeah.
which and I kind of have that now. There's people I train that they're closer in age to my kids than they are to me. So, but the time just flies by, and yeah, it's just been a whirlwind ever since.
No, that was huge for me when the first time we hired someone who was born after I got on the department. That was a big mind screw for me. I was just like, "Whoa, hold up. I'm not
Hmm.
that old." You know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
am. I am that old. So
Same.
yeah. Uh, how did you overcome self-doubt? Well, first of all, you said you were young when you promoted. How young were you when you promoted?
I was probably 27,
Okay. Yeah,
26,
so very young.
27.
Very
Yeah.
young.
I mean, and you have daughters, so you know, like a woman in her early 20s is a completely different person in her mid to late 20s. I can't really put my finger on it, but you kind of find yourself a
Sure.
little bit. And that took an extra long time. And there was just constant self doubt, you know. And when I did work with another female, she was like, I just don't understand. Like these guys screw up and it's like they don't care. And she's like, I lay awake at night for days. I'm like, I know, I know. But I mean, even to this day, I don't think I come away from a fire or a big training without thinking, man, I should have done this better, I should have done this better. Um, but it helps when you have good people around you to kind
For
of
sure.
keep you between the buoys, you know, and tell you when you're screwing up, you know, and then telling you when you are doing a good job. So, but it was a lot of soul searching, a lot of therapy. Big fan
Okay.
of therapy. Yes.
Right on. Right on.
Therapy for the win.
So
Still.
you now you say that like you just beating yourself up, laying in bed, beating yourself up. I do that after fires. Like I
Yes.
think even a fire that goes good, I'll find myself beating myself up.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and so and saying, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I do that? You know, and I've talked to other people who are like, why would you ever do that? I don't understand. It doesn't bother me at all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I don't know if it's just wired different or what it is.
Yes.
But do you see it as a
Yes.
male female? Do you see it more in females, like from your perspective? Because you were talking about talking to the other female.
Yes. I think especially when you're younger, um, you think that everyone else is noticing your
Everything.
failures and your mistakes. Yes.
Mm,
And I think I put it in my notes to you as an ex-boyfriend once told me, it's not always about you. Like a lot of times, all the things that you think people are noticing about you, they are not noticing, you know? So it kind of took some time for me to
sure.
realize that no one's paying attention to me as closely as I am. So just calm down. Um,
Oh, I love that. I do
yeah.
love that
Yeah.
mindset. Uh, yeah, because that's something that I think everybody could benefit from realizing.
Yes. Yes. But it does keep you humble. It does keep you humble.
Now
But
you have a oh, go ahead, sorry.
it's crazy how your brain can play tricks on you when you tell yourself, "Oh, I should have known this, I should have known that." And, you know, no one knows everything.
Well, it's a two-edged sword almost because on one side it pushes you to get better and learn, and on the other side it creates that doubt and that I don't want to say indecisiveness because that's not necessarily how it manifests, but it's just that I don't know that yeah, it's a two-edged sword. It's good and bad.
Yes, I very quickly became very aware of my strengths and weaknesses. And I was not afraid to admit when I needed help, especially on scene. You know, like if we're carrying a heavy patient or something, and normally we have one at the foot and one at the head. And if I feel like we need to do four corners because this person's really heavy, I'm going to say, hey, let's do four corners. Or here, I'll take the bags, you take this end of the cot. Like I'm not going to let my ego get in the way on scene.
Right.
Sometimes it sucks asking for help, but also I like to think I have other strengths. We get a car accident and you upside down car, a little tiny hole in the window, like I'm your girl, right? I am in. Confined space, like just some of those things. I just really tried to make sure I was very aware of my strengths and weaknesses, keep working on the weaknesses, but don't get in the way, and then really kind of push on with the things that I was good at.
Right on. Right on. No, and I love the fact that you can say just push past the ego and say, "No, I need help with this right here," and that's okay.
Yes.
Because, yeah, there's been times when I would refuse to ask for help because of that dreaded three-letter word.
Yes.
Uh,
Egos eat brains.
that's
Egos
no doubt about it.
eat
There is
brains.
no doubt about it.
Yes.
Uh, Advice for supporting new recruits, specifically like female recruits. And here's full disclosure: we hired our first female at my department, a few years ago, and she was assigned to my shift, and it's been a very awesome education for me, and hopefully it's been an awesome experience for her. That'll, we'll find out in the, the final review. But advice for supporting new recruits.
Well, first of all, there's a couple things that I think people don't even realize, and I didn't either. Uniforms. Uniforms fit differently. When we have shorts or hats or something, like a hat that has a hole for the ponytail. Like you don't even think that, oh, hey, maybe we should make sure that those are an option. Just little stuff like that
Sure.
that you don't even think about. I mean, nothing fit me when I started. Nothing. One size fits most, and
Right.
nothing fit, right? And it took a while to get stuff that, I mean, they used to put little like foam wedges in my mask to make it fit right because they didn't like to hold a seal because they didn't make one small enough for my face.
Right.
Stuff like that. So you kind of gotta, I don't want to say think outside the box. That's cliche, but it's very true. It's very true.
Right.
Um, and
Well, and
then
you could also get mad about it and cause problems, have an attitude, but it doesn't sound like that's the direction you went with it, but
no, no, I really tried to. I mean, again, right, wrong, otherwise, I tried to go along to get along. There's things I look back on. I was like, I probably should have made some boundaries on that, but smarter about it now, I suppose. But it's much more of a coaching thing. And this is what I picked up from my buddy that I do the conference with. Like he was a college athlete coach, and
right,
he coached women's softball, and he's like, and they also coached college football. He's like, you have to coach them differently. And I know I put it in my notes, like men and women are different. I mean, I'm not going to stereotype all of us on one side or the
sure,
other, but for the most part, the way you talk to people, you have to really figure out kind of how they respond to it. And men and women are just different, and they're just going to take things differently. And he's taught me a lot about kind of the coaching aspect. And you coach women and girls a little bit differently than you do men and boys. Like if we were doing extrication training or something, like those tools are heavy, right? And I might be struggling, and it's natural for a male, especially a male that's maybe my older brother's age or my father's age, to want to step in and help me because that's how
right,
he was raised. But also you have to think about kind of what that does to the female that you're helping. You think you're helping her because you're just being polite, it's heavy, but really she's thinking, oh, this little girl can't do it, this guy is helping me, or he has to help me. And that can just send it even further down. So
mm,
but I mean, that's a general, just as an officer, getting to know your people. This female that you hired, she might not be like that at all. So then it's just the bigger picture of kind of knowing who your people are, which as you do this, it's leadership, being an officer, mentoring. It's all about your people.
wow.
It's not really about you. Again, back to that famous saying. It's
Seems to
not
be a
really
theme,
about you. Yes.
right? There's a theme.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yes.
No, and again, knowing your people, what an unbelievable lesson to learn, or just file away, because what works for one person doesn't work for another, regardless of age, race, creed, religion, sex, gender, whatever. I mean, knowing your people, I can't think of a better piece of officer advice. Um, I got questions coming from the audience.
Oh
we're
boy.
going to hit you up. Let me see. Kyle Piverall, staying on topic a little bit, what we've been talking about. Kyle Piverall comes and says, Cap, what are some ways you found to balance the self-doubt / striving to be better and confidence on scene?
A couple things. One, I had to find my people, like find the people that I was close to that would really tell me, like, yeah, you kind of screwed that up, or no, you're just being hard on yourself. So you kind of got to find your people. Also, you got to process it, like after a big fire, a big training or something, like you just got to give it a day, right? Especially one sleep for sure. That's when our brain processes things, and it's your perspective. And sometimes you need to take a day to kind of keep that in perspective, right? Um, but yeah, it goes back to really finding the people you can trust, which I know can be hard.
Mm.
Um, but then you just got to keep after it. You just got to keep hammering on. Like I have a really hard time starting a chainsaw. So I just keep trying. And when I was younger, I mean, we did inventories every Sunday, and every Sunday I'd drag the chainsaw out and I would try and try, and then I would flood it. And then I have to go ask my other firefighter, and I'm like, I flooded the chainsaw, and he would come out and help me. And, but I just kind of kept at it. Now it's still kind of hit or miss, but, you just got to keep at it.
Right on.
Age helps. Age
Maturity,
helps. Yes.
yes, and the
Yes.
therapy,
And the
all of it
therapy.
combined, all of it
All,
combined. And I'm
yes.
a huge fan, so please understand that. Fully Involved has a question for you. Fully Involved with 3 exclamation points. As a dad of a super daughter, my gut says she would be great at the job. Any tips for figuring out if she likes it or not?
Well, kind of just what does she like in general? Does she like a challenge? Does she like variety? Does she like problem solving? I mean, there's something to be said, male or female, for a profession where you walk into someone's house and you tell them how it's going to be. I mean, that's exactly what we do. So it's, does she have that in her to kind of go out on a limb and make a decision and take action? Really, I mean, a lot of times, you mentioned it before about indecisiveness. Like you just got to make a decision.
Mm.
So, and if she's not afraid to get dirty, not afraid to be physical, get sweaty, learn, constantly learning, then chances are it's probably a good fit for her.
Oh, beautiful. Uh, Clint McFarland, I hope you don't mind. There's a lot of
Oh
questions
my,
coming in.
yes.
Clint McFarland says, are there any battles that you had to fight that you now know made things better for female firefighters behind you? In other words, how do they stand on your shoulders?
Oh boy, that's a good one. Um, yeah, yeah, I would say there was a truck that I could not drive because of the way the seat was. And it was like that old lady commercial. It's like can't see, can't reach the pedals, can't see. And they did make quite a few adjustments to that seat. And I do know that now, years later, they have a similar situation with a female in another new truck, and they're making modifications for her. So yeah, there were some things like that, but pretty much there were a lot of things where I really had to say, is this battle worth it or not?
Right.
Um, and I had a lot of support either way. And some of them are not worth it. Some of them, I mean, I had some officers that just our leadership style did not match, and or just personalities didn't match. And there were days where I'm like, I'm not going to fight this fight today. I'm just going to keep my head down, do my own thing. Um, but luckily, also after having all 3 of my children while I was on shift, um, some of those battles had been fought before me. So I had that a little bit easier than those before me.
Now, I
So
want to be
hopefully,
clear.
yes.
You had the 3 kids while doing shift work, not while on shift.
Well, if we're going to get technical,
Okay.
um, I had them while I was working as a shift captain. I did
Okay.
have one labor and delivery start while on
Okay.
shift. Yes. And it's time. It's time for the nation to know this story.
Okay. Let's hear the
Because
story.
this is a bond I have with, he's now a deputy chief. He was a battalion chief at the time. This is a bond we have that, yeah, I think it's pretty rare. So when I would become too pregnant to work on the line,
Right.
because they don't make maternity fire gear, and they can't buy you new gear every week. So my doctor and I would decide when it was time for me to stop run calls. And then I would just move into light duty. And since I was a captain, I was able to do kind of some higher level light duty things. You know, I was making and updating policies and procedures. I was still doing timesheets, keeping track of training. I mean, my first pregnancy, I was assigned to the training division. My second one, I was assigned to the deputy chief's office. So it, yeah, I got to do a lot of good projects, right? So when I was on light duty, if they were called to a structure fire while I was there, I would hop in with the battalion chief and just assist in the command post. You
Right.
know, run the
Yeah.
other radio channels, tactical worksheet, keep track of staffing. And most of them thought it was pretty helpful, you know, because I had acted up as a battalion, so I kind of knew what they needed.
Sure.
Just an extra set of hands.
Just a command aid.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
which they were not used to.
And
Now,
I would
granted,
kill to have. I would kill to have a
yes.
command aid. Yes.
Now, I didn't drive for them because, again, back to knowing your strengths and weaknesses, but I'm really good at the radio. So there was a day where I was probably 3 weeks from my due date. And I remember thinking, like, it was on a Monday. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it all week. You know, I just kind of had that feeling. It was my second baby. I just kind of had that feeling like, I don't know if I'm going to make it all week. And right around noon, we get paged out for a structure fire, confirmed, like mobile home fire, flame showing. And the station I was at has an engine, a truck, and the battalion. So I hop in with the battalion and I have the schedule for the day and I have all the things, you know, and the engine goes flying out the station, the truck goes flying out the station, and we are breaking the plane of the door. And I dropped my phone and I reached down to get it and my water broke.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, stop the truck. And he looked at me and he's like, what? I'm like, I think my water just broke. And he goes, are you serious? And his eyes were as big as dinner plates.
Yeah, I bet.
In my mind, I'm like, yeah, I got to get out of this truck. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going to go. And I like hopped out on the sidewalk and back into the station, but I still had all of his papers and everything with him. And he just goes screaming down the street. I mean, 2 seconds later, we would have been, you know,
On
code
scene.
3. Yeah, I would have been like, you need to pull over and let me off at the corner.
Right.
I have to get out of this vehicle. So, and I ran in the chief's office. I'm like, my water just broke. And he was like, oh my God, do you need a ride? And I was like, no, I don't want any of you anywhere near me. That I fired off a couple, I'm going to be out of the office emails. And I went home and my son was born, you know, 10 hours later or something.
Okay. So 10-hour labor. So you didn't deliver at the station.
No. Oh God, no.
Just the ice. I can just see my eyes getting.
Oh my God. And so every year on the anniversary of that day, he sends me a text and he's like, happy anniversary of the craziest day of my life as an incident commander. So, but it's funny because for a while they still had that truck. You know, I didn't get anything on it. You know, I got it.
Right.
Every time I would see it, even when I moved to a different department, I'd see it on mutual. I'd be like, hey, that's the truck that my water broke in that one. And their guys are just like, what the? I'm like, oh yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Good times. Great memories.
Yes. Good times. So yeah.
I love it. Okay. Where were we at? I want to go over here. What's something I like it? Bree Roos coming at you, and I want to say that Clint McFarland said no soft tosses, Cap. So he's making basically no soft tosses. He's going to keep them coming hard and fast.
Oh, I'm sure.
But Bree Roos goes, what's something you would go back and say to your 25-year-old self?
Again, it's not always about you. They're not looking at you and critiquing you as much as you think they are. So just calm the fuck down.
That's nice. No, yeah. I love that piece of advice. Dane Train wants to know, what challenges have you faced to preserve your department's culture, and how did you get over these? So now we're getting into culture a little bit, but.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with obviously the current department I'm on. I've been here 4 years or so. Tell me a question again, something about culture.
Challenges you face trying to preserve the culture.
Oh, so we have a pretty kick-ass culture here, I would say. And one of the reasons is because we work at it every single day. I mean, every day is a training day for those guys, and every day is a culture day for all of us, especially the admin staff. We talk about it constantly. We talk about giving the benefit of the doubt. You know, We talk about not having egos and sharing opinions, things like that. I mean, my chief is amazing. I could go on and on. I'll probably mention him a bunch, but true leader, and he has a leadership philosophy, and it's posted outside his door, and I can point to things that I see him living it every single day, every single day. So we talk about it a lot. We're pretty protective of it, and since we're a combination, there's no union here. We don't have a lot of full-time staff. If someone isn't working out, my assistant chief and I can tell him this person's not cutting it, and he's like, "All right, I trust your judgment." And
Oh,
we,
wow. No,
yeah,
that's phenomenal. That's
yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause
Even though it means being short-staffed means that he has to run more calls. I mean, my chief runs a ton of calls. The first few fires I had here was with him. He'll steal the nozzle from you if you're not watching. You know, so
David oh, go ahead.
it
Sorry.
just he's a working chief, and so he knows, even though it might mean that he has to run more calls, when we're short staffed, he's okay with it. We're fiercely protective of our culture.
Leads from the front. Fiercely protective of
Yes.
your culture is just a phenomenal statement. Just I love that statement right there. And the way you described, basically holding each other accountable through your language, deliberate use of language. You mentioned a leadership philosophy that sits on his door. Is that something you could
Yes.
share? Like if people reached out, could we get a copy?
Oh
I
yeah.
would love to see that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is it pretty
Yeah.
short and concise, or is it
It's like 10 or 11
okay?
things.
Okay. No, I'd love to. I'd love to see it. I think that's
Yeah.
amazing.
I mean, it's, look out for each other, ask questions first, give the benefit of the doubt, have fun, remember the mission. Things like keep the main thing.
Right.
Like we constantly talk about why are we here and how does this support the mission? How does this not support the mission? But yeah, I can definitely share it. It's
No,
fantastic. It's great.
I love it. And David Stender said, "You have a kick-ass chief for sure."
Yes,
So,
yes, I do. Yes,
Stender, who we already discussed before we went live, Dave, we were talking about you, and you and Debbie, and saying you guys are everywhere. Period.
everywhere.
Everywhere. Um, what drew you to the role of training officer, and how has that responsibility changed your perspective on the job? This one's coming from Jeremy Humphrey.
Okay. So after about 20 years, again, I had all three kids. They were 2, 4, and 6, and I had all three of them all being on shift, and I was tired. I was tired. My husband was tired. I mean, he's the real hero. Like I would leave him. He'd have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and like a 12-week-old, and my maternity leave is up, and I'm see ya. I'm going for 24 hours. And he
Whoa.
would bring them into the station every shift, so I could nurse at least once a shift. So he was a real hero there, but we were tired. We were tired, and it was hard.
Yeah.
Shift captain is hard. You're in the middle, and it's some would say it's like running an adult daycare, but it was hard. And
Right.
the 24-hour shifts were hard. So I was just going to retire. And then this spot opened up as a full-time training officer in this combination department. And the chief that I have now, he was actually the deputy chief at my previous department,
Okay.
not the one that I started my labor with, different one.
Okay. Not the one where the water broke.
Yes.
Okay.
Right, right. So he had come up here to this department to become the chief. And when there was a chance to work for him again, I mean, I worked with him for 20 years in my first department. And when there was a chance to work for him again, I was like, I'm going to
Done.
take that,
Done.
Yeah. So I applied, but also I was like, they were like, you're going to be in charge of teaching rookies. I'm like, I don't know how to teach rookies. By the time new people got to me, they had been on the department for at least 6 months. I was like, I don't know how to be like, this is an SCBA. So, but I thought I could probably do it. I'll figure it out. I have support. And so I got the job, and then I went to FDTN. There was one year, several years ago, FDTN ran a training officer class.
And Fire Department Training Network.
Yes.
Jim
yes.
McCormick and everything going on around
Yes, FDTN, Fire Department Training Network, and they had like a 5-day course on how to be a training officer. And holy shit, man, I thought I knew what it meant to teach firefighters, and I was wrong. And I went out there, and it was just, you don't know what you don't know. I thought, oh, I'm on the ladder truck. I can teach things about the ladder truck. Well, I didn't really know how to teach. and I went to FTTN, and they taught me how to teach. And it definitely changed the trajectory of my career. I've been out there 3 times. It's
Wow.
like the coolest place on earth, right? Um, so that's when I came back, and we just kind of really started hitting the basics, hitting the basics really hard with the rookies. And, we're short staffed, but I don't do PowerPoint very well. It's not my thing. So we follow the state curriculum. I get them to pass the state test, but we are doing hands-on
Mm,
because I need them to learn things quickly so they can get on the trucks and run calls.
nice. And that's that McCormick influence.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. And just breaking it down. I mean, we all make it so complicated, and because we think, oh, if it's a drill of just pulling a hose to the door and charging the line, that's too simple. Well, no, it's not. And also, if you nail it, it fucking works every time,
Right.
So,
Hold
yeah.
on, I gotta timestamp that one.
Sorry.
No, it's amazing. No, I love. No, that was not a complaint. Please don't take it that way.
Okay.
Basics work. I'm trying to write down. You got me distracted. Basics work every time. Sorry, my notes. Okay, I'll quit
Okay.
apologizing. Um, so talk to me about developing the rookie program, basically, because you had to do it from the ground up.
Yes. I mean, it's a combination department. So we still have like evening classes, and they meet once a week. And I mean, these are people that are going to college or have full time jobs, have families, and most of them are looking to be full time fire somewhere else in the area. And we're okay with that. We support them. Um, our philosophy is, and I didn't make this up, I stole it from somebody else, but train them well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to.
Right on.
And I mean, we probably have over 40% of our staff are full-time fire somewhere else. And they're here, they work part-time or paid per call here, but so we definitely had to really kind of just support them in what they wanted, because they're hungry. They're hungry
Right.
and they want to do fireman things. And as Ray McCormick would say, keep fire in their life. We don't have as many fires as we want or as we think we should have. But if you talk about it and watch videos on it and practice it and pretend it's happening and, keep it in their life, keep them fed. So we just did that. We just kind of hammered the basics, did a lot of fireman shit. We just did real fireman shit
I love it.
and they seem to like it.
No, and I love. I think it's Bobby Eckert that says if you do fireman stuff, you'll attract firefighters. I mean, plain and
Yes.
simple. Plain and
Yes.
simple. I butchered his quote, but yeah, you get the essence of it.
Yes.
Kyle Piverall, staying kind of on topic, it says, "What was the largest lesson about learning how to teach? Would you say that you took away from FDTN?"
To keep it simple and to not overcomplicate it, define your objectives and design the drill exactly around those objectives. So you make it so that they can only do what you want them to do in the drill. Like if you don't want them to use this certain door over here, well, don't just be like, oh, pretend that door's not there. Block it off, make it go away. If you don't want them to do something, design the drill so that they can't. And so that very specifically and they know very specifically what does success look like. When we walk away from training, I tell them, the by the end of this training, I expect you to know how to do XYZ, and if you don't, I didn't design it right.
Oh, it's
And
beautiful.
just, I mean, FTTN just taught me, like, we don't need to make it complicated. And he's always said, like, I don't need to always make it super hot and dark. Like, you'll find something to do to mess it up yourself. We just get in our own way and we're learning things like that. So but yeah, just continuing to keep it basic. We definitely overcomplicate the drill.
No, and even I, as a company officer, especially when I was, in charge of company standards, it's like, okay, what do I want to get my guys to do today? Because I wanted to train every shift, and you just like, I don't want to just have them pull a pre-connect to a door and force a door. I got to come up with something because you feel that pressure.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
but but really, it's just about mastering the basics so that when it doesn't challenge you on scene, you just crush it. And if it is
Mhm.
challenging you on scene, at least that part's taken off the table as a variable because you're going to crush that part.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And just then they walk away from training and they were successful.
Nice.
You know, if you have people come to training and you give them this super hard ass drill and, ride them the whole time and they walk away feeling miserable and shitty, like they don't want to come back to training,
Right.
I mean,
Becomes punitive.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not fun. And I mean, the other thing I learned there was the stress should come from the situation or the environment, not the instructor.
Mm,
It shouldn't be because I'm yelling at someone or intimidating you or, whatever. That if I want a firefighter to be stressed, so there's a lot of things I can do. I can take away their visibility. I can make it really hot. I can give them a workout ahead of time so they start out tired. I can play loud music and flashy blinky lights, but the stress shouldn't come from me because then it's personal. And they walk away from that and they didn't enjoy themselves, you know?
beautiful. No, no, it's phenomenal. I'm trying to get back to my so many there's still like 12 questions coming from the audience, but I'm getting back
Oh,
to the to our especially there's been questions towards how to treat young female firefighters because this is a male dominated profession and we don't know how to treat young female firefighters and it's a wasteland for us at times and I don't think anybody's trying to treat them poor. I think the general people are not trying to treat them poorly or anything or treat them but go ahead, give us your perspective,
well, I mean,
advice.
you're married, right? Okay.
Yes.
Women, we want to be listened to. Listen to us. And sometimes I don't want you to solve my problem, you know? Sometimes it's just a matter of validating what I'm feeling or what anyone's feeling. And that's not even just specific to females, that's males too. They just sometimes they don't realize it. But a lot of times it's just to listen. People want to be heard. I mean, I think that's even just a bigger advice as a company officer, just people want to be heard. And even though sometimes they're complaining or venting and you have to be like, oh yeah, it's really hard, I'm sorry, I know you're frustrated, a little bit creeps into like how I might talk to my toddler, like, you didn't get what you want, that's frustrating, isn't it? And not that I'm talking to them like they're children, but as children as much as anyone else, they just want to be heard. They just want
Right.
someone to listen and be like, my voice matters, you
No,
know
no, I
um,
can tell you, like, some of my most frustrating moments in my career have been when I felt like my opinion didn't matter or that my concerns weren't valid or, you know,
mhm.
I don't know the right way to say it, but yeah, no,
Yes,
absolutely. When I
yes.
didn't feel heard.
Yes, and you might not know it at the time, and they
Right.
might not know it, I mean, we have a good saying around here when someone is venting or having an issue or something, it's, "How can I support you? Do you want solutions or support?" It's like, "Well, are you just venting, or do you want me to go do something about this?" Do you
Right.
want solutions or support? And that person might not even know. They might be like, "I don't know." It's like, "All right, well, I'm also fluent in awkward silence, so we can just sit here too," you know? Uh,
Uh, I love that. That
and
actually hit my soul. Uh,
And make sure there's a place to cry in private, okay? And that's not just for the girls, because I can tell you, I've had a lot of grown men in my office crying, and it happened at both departments through all the years. And usually I'm crying too, crying with them, just so they don't feel silly. I don't know. I've cried in so many offices. Our joke around here is that like if you're in a good mood, you go see chief, and if you're crying, he's gonna kind of shush you over across the hall to my office,
right
you
on.
know, because this is the office where you come and cry. And a lot of times, it's the women's bathroom of the fire station, and we just need to get it out, you
Okay.
know. And not every female is like that, but I mean, I know I am. I just need to get it out. And again, it's back to people being heard, and sometimes people just need a good cry.
No, and just like the fire service, the scrap is dominated by male guests, generally speaking. And so it's uncharted territory. So I get to ask these questions of you. And so I hope you don't mind. I'm
Oh
curious
no,
enough
it's
about your
fine.
entire
It's
career.
fine. Yes, but
Okay.
especially when they're pregnant, maybe don't ask them, "Ooh, is that what you look like when you cry? You should go do that by yourself." I mean, I had a
No.
guy tell me that, "You should go off and do that by yourself."
Oh,
I was like
wow.
6 months pregnant. Yeah.
Uh,
Or a lot of times I would preface it, especially when I was pregnant. One time I had to interview for a battalion chief's position while very pregnant. And it was in front of a panel of all my command staff. And I walked in, I was like, I'm probably going to cry. at some point. Like I can't help it. Like this is just what
This is
happens
what's
to my
going
face now. Like it just happens to my face. Sorry. There's two of us interviewing for this spot right here.
on.
So
And he likes to cry, or
yeah,
she.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, they get over it. So it's not scary. Crying isn't scary. Feelings aren't scary. They go away. A lot of times we're all this way, especially in this industry. We're afraid to feel the feels. And it's like, just calm down, feel the feels. They're going to pass. Like feelings are not scary. They're
Hmm.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Bet you never thought you'd hear those words on the scrap.
I'm a pretty sentimental guy, and people who know me know this, but I still think feelings are scary and they should be shoved down and kept secret.
they are not scary. I promise you.
Fair enough.
I promise you.
Balancing motherhood and the fire service. We've touched on
Oh,
being
buddy.
pregnant and everything, and then we touched on your husband also. The superhero of the home.
Yes.
But hit me with just the challenges of it. Everything you talked about nursing at the station.
Yes.
How intimidating is that? At times and
Yes.
all of it. Talk to me.
Yeah. The only thing more difficult than nursing at the station is nursing on a fire scene in the back of a fire truck. Yeah.
It's got
But
to happen. So
it does happen, but a lot of the guys I worked with got a crash course in how that needs to happen when it needs to happen. And a lot of them, they had so many questions, and I was like, you can ask me questions. We can talk about it. It's not crazy. Like I had a separate fridge at the station. I didn't like put the breast milk in with the shift ice cream and things like
right.
that, but
Didn't mixed up with the coffee creamer.
yeah, exactly. It's like, no, this is liquid gold. Keep your hands off. But yeah, I mean, balancing it, a lot of the FaceTime and the kids coming to the station. My kids think they own the place, you know. But it's still hard. It's still hard. There were a lot of times where it was almost better if we didn't do a FaceTime or something, just because it's just so hard. Because it'd be like, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? I'm sure it's not that different for a dad.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough. Now that they're a little older, I can explain things to them.
Sure.
I help train a lot of the surrounding departments, mutual aid departments, and I tell them, I'm like, I am training the firefighters that would come to our house if there was a fire here, and that kind of helps click in their
Sure.
brain, and then when I was on shift, it was easy because I would say, well, it's my turn. It's my turn to go to the station. Yesterday was someone else's turn. Today is my turn. So
It turns into a life lesson for turns.
a little bit. Yes.
A little bit. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, but yeah, and I had a lot of support. It was a lot of support. But the nursing part was actually, it led to something really cool. I got to be part of a study. They did a study on breast milk to see after a fire if
Sure.
the carcinogens or everything are still in the breast milk. So
Sure.
they sent me all these supplies, and I had to send in a sample like right after we had a fire, 24 hours after, 48 hours after, and ship it all off so they could test it to see like how much of the carcinogens and all
Right.
the bad
Through your
stuff.
blood into the breast
Yeah,
milk into the
yeah.
baby. Yeah. Yeah.
And none of it.
So
No,
the human body keeps
we are freaking superheroes. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. They
Wow.
said,
No,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. It was super cool. A very small data set. They could only find
Right.
like 40 women that were still, actively in fire suppression, but yeah, we filtered all out. So
But at least it's been looked into, and even though small
yes,
data set, the results still phenomenal for the breast milk.
yes, yes. So I mean, that's my magic power. And I may not be able to start a chainsaw, but I can do other things.
You can filter some nutrient rich liquid gold. I think that's the term you
Liquid
said.
gold. Yes, yes.
Beautiful. Derek Ite has a question coming at you. And he says, I always hear from others about how it would be difficult to work with a female, especially for their wives. What advice would you give them and their wives to smooth any unsettling thoughts or worry?
Get to know the wives. Get to know them and have them get to know you, and that you're no different than them. You're also a wife. Like the things that bother them about their husbands probably bother you too. And it's like, I get it, and but yeah, just get to know them. Just in general, get to know just the families in general. I think that's where a lot of the support comes from too, just knowing each other's families and saying like, hey, how was your wife's job interview? Or hey, how are the kids' baseball games? back to just kind of knowing your people. But at the end of the day, there are going to be women who aren't going to like it, and there's just nothing I can do. Like that's a them problem. I'm going to focus and do my job, and I'm happy to chat with you if you want to chat about it. But at the end of the day, some just aren't going to like it. And
Right. Right.
sorry.
And that does say more. I mean, about the I don't want to say this the wrong way, but more about the strength of their relationship than it
Right.
does, the
Right.
the female involved.
Right. But
Being
I
a firefighter.
usually can help. I can give really good advice on Mother's Day presents and birthday presents and things like that. I mean, I am a girl, so I kind of know what girls like.
Fair.
But at the end of the day, like I'm also just a coworker, and yeah, we just got to press on. Got a job to do.
Kyle Piverell has a follow-up question from it earlier. He says, "In no way do I mean this the way it sounds." So that's always a good way to start a question. But
Yes.
he says, "But at what point does punitive action need to take place in training?" So.
Punitive action comes in with attitude.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Nice distinction.
yeah. I mean, I don't care if you throw a ladder wrong 1,700 times, as long as you are still trying and having a good attitude and being open to feedback and correction. And I don't love training to be punitive at all, because it's really hard to get someone to want to do something with you, especially, wanting them to do it on their own. But at the same time, like saying, oh, well, your attitude sucks, so we're going to go pull hose for 3 hours. Well, what if I want to go pull hose for 3 hours? What if it's not a discipline thing? But no, it's all about attitude. If they have a good attitude and are willing to listen to feedback, yeah, we don't usually have a problem. And we have found, just after, again, being fiercely protective of our culture, we're not for everyone. And the people that don't fit, sometimes they realize that on their own.
Nice.
Like, this isn't for me. There's a little bit too much accountability here. I think I'm going to go somewhere else. And that's okay.
No, it's great for your culture. I mean, that's
Yeah.
phenomenal when the culture starts protecting itself in that way. And they, when you have the ability to do it, and it can I don't know, regulate itself. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of those people just don't gravitate towards us if this is not what they're looking for. Takes all kinds.
We are not for everyone. Okay, yeah, the people. I'm keeping up with chat. I'm keeping up with questions. I got more questions coming at you. I wanted to talk about. Sorry, I want to get to everything, and there's so much to talk about. The Craft and Culture Conference.
Oh,
because that is where I got to meet you for the first time. And talk to me about how that started, how you got involved with that, and the impact it's had.
Well, actually, if you remember, we met at Into the Job in Wichita.
Okay.
Into the Job, because I completely accosted you while you were eating your lunch, right?
I was at the table with the Wichita guys. Yes, I do remember that.
Yes, and I was like,
I would not call it completely accosted.
I felt like it.
It was a very pleasant conversation.
But I had one or two beers. I'm like, I'm going for it. I'm gonna ask him. To come talk to our conference. So, but I mean, my buddy and I, we had been doing a lot of traveling, trying to go to different conferences and see really good speakers. And Wichita feels like a really long ways away from here. It's like 9 hours. And I was like, oh my God, are we driving to Mexico? Like, when are we going to be there? And we were just lamenting about how there just wasn't a lot of that good stuff in our area. We're in the middle of Iowa, or like something would get posted and it would get sold out super quickly. So one day he's like, we should just hold our own conference. And I was like, yeah, we should. He's like, oh, okay, haha. I'm like, no, we're doing it. We're doing it. And that's how it started. And we went kind of big out the gate. I mean, we went Isaacson, Thompson, Nick Ledeen. I mean, some of our first ones, we didn't know we were doing, but we found out, like, all you guys, you're just people, and you just call it. You're like, hey, do you want to come talk at my conference? And everyone's like, sure, I'll do that.
Right on.
So, yeah, so we just wanted to do it. And we really liked the style of Into the Job, as far as like the cash bar. When we said we were going to have a cash bar, people were like, oh my God, aren't you worried people are going to get really drunk and stupid? And we're like, no, like, we just firemen talking about fireman things. And also, I don't know if you've seen the guy I do it with, but he's really freaking
He's
big.
he's a tall dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are no problems
Right.
there. I do not worry about that, you know? So, and we're just like, send it. We're just going to send it. And I can't, everything takes money. So I kind of fronted some money. My husband was okay with it and supportive of it. And we were like, we just want to do it. We just want to talk about fireman things with our fireman friends. And then each year it just keeps getting bigger. And then we met Jeff Bryant. And that was super helpful because although we had the drive to do it, we had no clue what we were doing.
Right.
None whatsoever. Um, but got hooked up with Jeff Bryan and Fire Nuggets, and he's been a huge help from day one.
Awesome.
So yeah, and which is what led to Iowa Fire Nuggets. So yeah, but yeah, our conference, Tom and I, we kind of approach it the same way we do training in general. He was a training officer, a different department for a while too, and now he's ship captain. We just both kind of feel the same way about training. Like it's not about us, and keep it simple. And it's just talking about fireman things, and that seems to work. So we just keep doing it. And every year we're like, oh, maybe we'll do another one.
Right.
So we're just gonna keep going.
How many years has it been now?
We've done 4.
I thought so. I was gonna say 4 or
Yes.
5. I wasn't quite 100% sure.
Yep. We've
That is-
done 4.
Hero and guide, because I want to get this philosophy of yours. This hero
Yes.
and the guide. Now, are
Yes.
you a reader? Are you a reader? Do you like fiction? Because when you talk about this, it seems like you enjoy story.
I do. I enjoy stories, but where I picked this up was actually at FDIC. I went to the Women in Fire Day. Me and like 6 of my girls here. The sorority mom took all the girls to FDIC, and we had a freaking blast,
Right
right?
on.
And we listened to Candace Ashby, and she was phenomenal. But then I listened to another speaker, and I don't remember his name or where he was from. He wasn't specifically in the fire service, but he was talking about this concept, the hero and the guide. So how, and I do read. I don't read a ton of fiction, but I read.
Right.
But he talked about how if you think of a lot of the major movies, there's a hero and a guide. I don't know the Star Wars analogy, but I know like the Little Mermaid had the little crab.
Right.
It was her guide.
Sebastian
Yes.
the crab.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. So it's a common theme that there's the hero and then there's the guide that really helps the hero and steers them in the right direction and helps them, with their challenges and things like that. And I was like, man, I kind of feel like I'm more like that, like, I don't know, I have all these young, awesome people, all these friends and coworkers that I've made over the years that just doing great things. And if I can just guide them, kind of get them pointed in the right direction, that's what is needed. I'm not some old salty dog fireman trucky. I don't have a mustache, but I mean, I can't give another one of those to the fire service, but if I can raise a couple up and get them started on the right foot and with a good foundation of skills and a good healthy passion and drive for it, that they should someday be better than me. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be, right? Train your replacement. And I tell people all the time, especially my girls, like you should be better than me. That's the point of this, because I'm not going to be here forever.
Right on.
And someone has to do my job. So we do a lot of teaching people how to teach here. We teach rookies, but I tell rookies from the get-go, like we're also teaching people how to teach. And so I'm putting young instructors up in front of others so they get practice, doing that. But yeah, I just kind of like to think that I'm a good guide for some of these people. It feels good. I'm so happy when they have success. It's just like a proud mom. It just brings me so much joy. Like when there's a call and they come back and they tell me everything they did and they just kill it.
Right.
I mean, we had 2 young guys show up on a fire by themselves, and they nailed it. They nailed it. It came in as a fire alarm, smoke in the hallway, upgraded it to water flow, upgraded it to building fire. And I mean, our staffing is, you could be 2 or 3 people for a good 10, 12 minutes on your own. That you want to talk about a change in tactics from what I was used to. I had 16 people in 6 minutes. And now on this job, I could be me and the chief for 12 minutes by ourselves. So these two, 2-3 story apartment building. They went up with the tools in the can, forced the door, smoke in the apartment, and they went straight to the bedrooms. And they found 2 kids home alone. And they grabbed them and met the driver in the stairway and switched kids for nozzle, and they went and finished it off. And I remember they came back to the station, and I looked at it. This young kid, it was his first fire,
Holy shit.
first fire. And I looked at him, I said, "Did you purposely head right for the bedrooms?" He said, "Yes, ma'am, I did." And I was like, "Oh, I could just kiss you right now." Like I was so proud. I mean, they did. They nailed it.
Right.
And it brought me so much joy. That was one of those where I went home to my kids and told them the story. And I was like, listen, all those nights that I'm gone and I miss bedtime and, or I have to leave dinner because there's a fire, like, that's why I do this, because these 2 guys saved these 2 little kids.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Did you teach them?" I'm like, "I did." I mean, there were many of us that taught them, but yeah, that's what we do. We teach them to do these things. And so it was really cool to be able to explain that to them. But yeah, seeing guys nail stuff, guys or girls, whatever, seeing guys nail stuff like that just makes me so happy.
I love it, man. This is probably one of my favorite comments in a long time on the scrap, and it's Clint McFarland. He said, "Breast milks and Little Mermaid going where no scrap has gone before." So no doubt about it. It might be the new name for this episode.
Yes.
I called
yes.
it Tina Humston Craft and Culture, but it may be Breast Milks and Little Mermaid. But anyway, no, it's been an amazing discussion. So thank you so much. I'd like to move to book or books that you think firefighters should be reading.
Oh, yes. Okay. So it's not like I have anything really crazy new that, you haven't listed or hasn't been on the reading list. How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Phenomenal.
5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
Like Lencioni.
Yes. Functional Fire Company, Scott Thompson.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites.
That's gold, right?
Absolutely.
That's gold. Leadership on the Line. So I had to read that one from the NFA.
Okay.
When I was in the EFO program, and there's a lot to unpack there with the NFA, the EFO program, but that book was really good. Leadership on the Line.
Leadership on the Line. Who's the author on that one? I should be able to rattle it off, but
yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, so no problem.
Sorry.
No, I'll put you on the spot. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll fail miserably. It's fine. But then the other one. So this is not a book, but this is like a newsletter thing that I get sent every day. Those little things you sign up for, and it's called Admired Leadership.
Admired Leadership. Can you find that with just a Google search?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a blog, and you can sign up to receive an email every day, and it's just their little tip of the day, and they're short snippets, for us ADHDers. It's just little, very brief, very to the point, and I save them all, and they're so good because they're brief and clear and concise, and they're not. I mean, they're not about the fire service,
right?
This guy is just writing them, but they're so relevant. And I'll often go back in that email folder, and when I'm dealing with a problem or something, I'll look for some keywords, and I'll find a couple good things, just to kind of especially before I like have a conversation with someone, or we're having a situation, and I'll just kind of get some little tidbits. So this was not a straight up book, but that one I
like it. I love those kind of resources. So thanks for sharing that. I can't wait to go sign up and start collecting them. So go ahead.
It's good. It's good. My chief, he signs, he gets them too. And every once in a while he'll pick one out, and he'll either send it to the whole department, or he'll send it to the command staff, and just like, hey, let's think about this one. And so, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Solid. Sorry, I took a drink right when you finished up. We do a thing on here called the 5 Questions for Firefighters.
Yes.
It is a good time. There are no right answers. There are only your opinions. And the points are arbitrary, passed out by me with the help of the audience. So, training captain Tina Humston, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Right, here we go. Number 1, you're the probie once more. You have to cook the meal for the firehouse. What is your go-to meal?
Breakfast. We are having bacon, eggs, pancakes, coffee, breakfast, and a lot of it.
Copious amounts of breakfast.
Yes.
I mean, you had me at bacon, eggs, and pancakes.
Right?
So.
Protein.
Yeah, absolutely.
Protein. Yes.
Brian Platts gave it a hell yeah, instantly a
Yes.
hell yeah. So that's a max points for me, Chief. That's from Tyler E. You get a max points for me for breakfast. Breakfast is a tradition. Any weekend shift or any holiday shift,
Yes.
we always open up with breakfast. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes we throw it into tortilla and it's breakfast burritos, but it's always breakfast. Number 2,
Okay.
max points so far. Max.
Yes.
Everybody
Thank
said
you.
max
Yes.
bacon points. There's the max points. Yeah. It's Jobtown. It's time. You're
Yes.
responding and en route. You got to think of the scene from Backdraft with the tape going into the cassette deck.
Oh, yes.
What song are you playing while en route?
Okay. So Valhalla Calling by
Valhalla?
Peyton. Yeah, by Peyton Parrish.
I do not know the song. So.
It is like we're going to fucking battle. And
Okay.
it's awesome. It's awesome.
It has Valhalla in it, so I'm already intrigued.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
I'm already intrigued. So
Yes.
I'll have to go listen to it. But
Yes.
it is now added to the Spotify playlist that exists out there. There's a spot with every answer. So
Yep, that's
it's
awesome.
in there. And because it has Valhalla in the answer, and you said it's like fucking going to battle, that
Yes.
means you get max points.
Oh,
So even though I don't know it, so there you go. 2
awesome.
for 2.
Thank
Number
you.
3. Number 3.
Okay.
Whose boots, past, present, or future, would you like to spend 24 hours in?
Okay. So at the risk of like sounding like total fangirl, right? I'm going to say Jim McCormick from FDTN, because think about this, right? It's a freaking Disneyland for firefighters, right? As far as the eye can see. And he goes in every fire, either him or McCormick. Like I said, I've taken 3 classes out there, and he goes in every fire, and I just fucking love it. I took my live fire instructor out there, and I love being in fire control. I love the heat. I love to just watch. But yeah, so Jim McCormick gets to go in every fire whenever he wants, gets to do fireman things whenever he wants. And people have so many questions, and his answers are very simple, very clear, concise, and it just, yeah. So I would say Jim McCormick, because I could just do fireman stuff all day long.
Great answer. And Jim's an amazing person who's done so much. And speaking of newsletters, FDTN has the FDTN newsletter. If you don't get that, it's one of the best. I talk about it all the time. Not affiliated. I'm not, but I will absolutely say that it is one of the best values that exists in the fire service. It's $60 a year, $5 a month. Get his newsletter. It's worth it.
Worth every penny. The drills they send out, if you get a department subscription, just classic. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's unbelievable. What he's done, it's an amazing legacy.
Yes.
Max points, 3 for 3. Number 4. Excuse me. You are retired. You're sitting on the beach enjoying Mai Tais. What do you want to hear through the grapevine that the people you used to work with, how do they describe you to the new hires?
Man, pretty simple. Just that she cared, she was supportive, that she was legit, like not afraid to get after it. We have a code here when someone's like, oh, you work with so-and-so, or oh, you met so-and-so, and you're like, yeah, good guy, hard worker, really it's not a good guy, not a hard worker. So as long as they don't say that,
right,
I'll be pretty happy. Yeah.
No good dudes.
Yes. Yeah. They won't say that I was on time, because I'm never on time. That's just not my thing. I don't know.
Fair.
We are all familiar here with Tina Standard Time, which is just 5 to 7 minutes late. Like I don't
fashionably.
Yeah. Like I don't ruin everything, just not on time. So, but yeah, just that she was not afraid to get after it, and she's a good training officer. Just simple, nothing crazy.
We'll ignore the Tina Standard Time and focus on the no good dudes and get max points. 4 for 4. Yeah, they said max points. Tina, laugh out loud. Tina Standard Time coming at you from the chat. We'll ignore that part. Just focus on, they said she wasn't a good dude. They're no good dudes. I love it. Final question. This is the question that never changes. It's heavy fire, searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
Nozzle all day. Nozzle.
Instantly
all
nozzle
day, every day. Yes. I want the nozzle. I want the heat. Yes, that all day. Also, I just like, I'm not very big. Like, I'm not going to be super fast pulling someone out. Like, I can do it, but it's not going to be pretty, you know? But give me that nozzle. And yeah, yeah.
Which ties right into climbing in and Jim McCormick's shoes and going to fires all day
Yes.
long in his.
Yes.
There you go, 5 for 5 max points, easy 5 for 5 max points from Tina Humston, and that officially puts 302 scraps in the books. Tina Humston, thank you for being an amazing guest and spending your evening with us.
Thank you.
If someone wants to get a hold of you, get more info, just pick your brain. What's the best way to do so?
Either Facebook, Craft and Culture Facebook, or Iowa Fire Nuggets Facebook is probably the best way. There was one question that I prepped for that you
Okay.
did not ask.
Let me go for it. Let me hear what I missed and see if I missed it.
The challenge.
No, I'm getting ready to hit you with the
I'm
challenge.
sorry. I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited.
No,
Okay.
because it is a new thing as well. I say new. It started in 2025, so it's been around a little bit. But I like to ask the guest after I ask them how to get a hold of you. I usually say, well, we also want to know a scrap challenge for the scrappers who are listening right now that they can try to get done before the next scrap comes up. What is the challenge you would like to throw at the scrappers?
Okay. So, sorry, I get a little out of order. I was a
No,
little excited,
no.
but
We're on Tina Standard Time here.
yes. So the challenge is to give someone the benefit of the doubt, but out loud to others. Okay. So, for example, the shift before you, B shift, oh, they didn't put fuel in the truck.
Of course not.
Of course not, right? So when your crew is talking about it, give them the benefit of the doubt and say it out loud. It's like, well, hey, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they ran a bunch of calls, or maybe they got halfway to the pumps and got turned around 3 times. Benefit of the doubt, right? Something there. It could be anything. I mean, usually people don't do things to be malicious. It's not like, the A shifters don't empty the dishwasher because they're like, oh, haha, we'll get them. We'll leave the
Right.
dishes in the dishwasher. Like, again, no one's thinking about you that much. They just probably forgot, and my chief is great at this. He does a great job of kind of just benefit of the doubt, and then it translates to big things. So,
I
but
love it. I love
doing
it.
Doing it out loud so that
No,
other
I love
people
that
hear
part.
it.
That part
Yeah.
because it's not just I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe and going on. It's propagating it deliberately with the use of
Yes.
communication, and that's
Yes.
an important key part that really is cool to add. So awesome challenge, amazing challenge. With that being said, I also like to look for people that should be on the scrap. Now, there's been 302 episodes. There's been a lot of guests, so I don't
Yes.
expect you to know everybody who's been on, but who's someone you would like to see be on the scrap, or
Someone that
maybe return to the scrap.
someone that hasn't been on yet,
Well, I
or
mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if you know
okay.
everybody because you could say I would love to see, and I could be like, oh, he was in 150, but
Yes.
no, just in general. I'm trying to grow my
Yes.
network.
Okay. Well, I do think you need to have Jonathan Brumley back
Okay.
because we had a little scheduling
Yeah,
snafu.
we did do. I did
And
have a snafu with that.
I thought maybe Jonathan and I were going to do a mega scrap
Yeah,
together.
it was close.
Back
It
to
was
that.
close to happening that way.
Yes, back to that time I taught him how to use a 2.5. That was our joke. That we were going to talk about that. But no, I mean, I think he's great. He came just a few months ago with Ramagus and did some hands-on training, and I swear he could flow and move with a 5-inch. Like
Yeah.
it was phenomenal to see.
His body mechanics and his knowledge
Yes.
and just so you know, everybody, I scheduled Jonathan Brumley and Tina on the same night because that's how brilliant I am. And then luckily they had this conference that she's talking about because they talked and Jonathan called me or texted me and said, hey, we have two, we're both on the same day, and we rescheduled it, which has led to a whole nother fiasco that I'll get to in a minute. But
Yeah.
Jonathan,
it was funny. It was funny.
He is next week. He is the next scrap. It worked out good.
Good.
So,
good. Yes.
But anyway, anybody else?
I mean, I'm biased, but I think my chief is pretty cool. He's really kind of just walked a path of changing the department from a very small volunteer department to he was the first full-time chief and getting into combination. And he's just so humble, and it just blows my mind all the time. He's just
Well, I'm
He
intrigued
nails
because he
it.
has his leadership philosophy, where everybody can
Yes,
see it. I'm intrigued by that already. But
yes,
all I know his name is Tina's Chief. So
yes.
what
His
is
name is Brian Plotz, Platz.
Platz?
Yes,
Brian.
he's been in the fire service 30 some years. His dad was a firefighter. His son was a firefighter. Actually, we have training tomorrow and it's live fire and him and his son they're gonna run reps
All
together.
right. No,
And
I'll get the info
so
from him.
cool.
I'm intrigued already just from the culture that he's built and allowed you to be a part of and allowed you to flourish in. I'm trying to say
Yes,
allowed you to help make it flourish. I'm trying to use the right words.
yes,
Uh, yeah, people are saying, bring on Platzy, best in the business. Ooh, Platz.
yes.
So there you go. Great. Okay, housekeeping. Thank you for
Okay.
all of that, Tina. Thank you for all that.
Yes.
The Discord is up and running. It is very active. If you are not a vigilante, you need to go become a vigilante and get in the Discord because there is so much going on in there, including the after party that's going to happen here in a few short minutes where we all get together, the vigilantes, me, and the guest, and we roast the guest. So that is coming up here in a few short minutes. If you're looking for a place to connect with like-minded souls, the Vigilantes is the place to be. Patreon.com/the Vigilantes. And of course, we do vigilante meetups now. Almost every time vigilantes get together, we do the meetups. It's a blast. Coming up on the scrap, I already mentioned it. It's Jonathan Brumley. Now, here's the part where I get to tell everybody I'm a dirty liar. I'm going to make a video and put it out because I was so excited. And last week, I put out the video where I announced all scraps from this point forward are on Tuesday night. And that was true at the time. It was true at the time. But because of this whole scheduling mess up with Brumley, I actually had him on next week on Tuesday. And then I committed to a fundraiser. If people have been following my department, we had a guy who he got burned up pretty good going through a roof. There's a fundraiser for him. I'm teaching at it, and I scheduled it on Tuesday because I had Brumley on Monday in my head, but I moved him to Tuesday when I moved all the scraps to Tuesday. So now next week, I moved Brumley back to Monday because of that fundraising scrap. So I'm a dirty liar as far as all scraps are on Tuesday. Next week should be the official last scrap that's not on a Tuesday, and it's Jonathan Brumley. So I wanted to say all that. That's it. I'm a dirty liar. I got that covered. After that, it's Mark Davidson, one of the original people that ever came on the scrap, one of the first people that ever came on the scrap, Mark Davidson. He is coming back. So 2025 is trucking along in style. And we'll make sure to be there. Mark your calendar, show up every Tuesday except next Monday. And we'll go from there. I promise you, I'm so excited about it being consistently on Tuesday. All right, enough jabbering from me. Tina, thank you once again for
Thank
spending your
you.
evening. It was an
Thank you.
amazing scrap. People are already talking about how good it is. Phenomenal scrap.
Thank you.
Audience, thank you for tuning in each and every week. I hope to make it even easier for you to tune in each and every week with the Tuesday plan, the alleged Tuesday plan. I love you all. Your questions are what make the scrap so amazing. So remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tones stay silent unless it is burning. Everybody, stay safe out there.